Whoa, whoa, I'm alive! Would you look at that? Hey, hang on a minute, I don't remember dying. What the f***?
Your mortal coil has been rewound. Your duty is yet fulfilled.
Well, I don't know what that means, but you sure do sound like a disembodied voice that could be construed as some form of deity. What happened? Did I die?
Not long after watching The Acolyte, you succumbed to the ill tide of cringe. Your soul was not built to endure such war.
Damn it! I knew I shouldn't have watched that show. Hey, but what do you mean my purpose isn't fulfilled? I watched the whole thing!
You have been deceived, for another show has been made.
Another? You don't mean?
Take a look at this. Go now, my son. The children of Tolkien need you.
What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's great to be back. Shout out to the unnamed AI-generated deity that brought me back to life, because dying is pretty boring. So yeah, good to be back, and it would appear they actually went ahead and did it. They actually made a Rings of Power Season 2. And if you weren't there for the first season, and you don't understand just how cataclysmically awful that show was, it was so bad, it gave me a job. That's how bad we're talking. I literally got a career on YouTube because that show sucked balls that hard. But Season 1 was 2 years ago. So here's a quick refresher to get you caught up. Elrond is now a poet and a little bit gay. The Harfoots are filthy little Irish midgets who abandon their own at the first sight of weakness. Gil-galad is now a little bit gay. Uncle Benjen came back to life only to realise that being dead was a little bit better than being in Rings of Power, so they actually had to swap the actor for him for Season 2. Galadriel is now insufferable and has apparently seen what you have not seen.
But you have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Celebrimbor is now a little bit gay. The sea is always right. Durin is also a little bit gay.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
Oh, and Halbrand is Sauron. Yeah, if you weren't there for Season 1, literally no one saw that coming. And now, Season 2 is here. But this time around, things are just a little bit different. Now, when I put out my first video about Rings of Power, this would have been over 2 years ago, at this point, I got quite a bit of backlash. This was back when it was not cool to dislike Rings of Power. The show hadn't come out yet. People, were still sitting on the fence, but I was amazed by just how blind even Tolkien fans were to just how obviously awful the show was going to be months, if not years, before it even released. But when you look at how the mainstream media controlled the narrative around Season 1, it's any wonder some people saw me as Lucifer for daring to even speak something remotely negative about that show. Season 1 was painted as a cinematic milestone, a conquest cultural vision. I even remember one headline from The Guardian that claimed Rings of Power was so astounding it made House of the Dragon look amateur. To formulate the opinion that House of the Dragon looks amateur compared to Rings of Power, to develop that opinion, you have to be retarded. You have to be. Your mother was Gravity and your dad was a breeze block. Rings of Power Season 2 is so much better than House of the Dragon. Right, yeah, we'll see about that one, shall we? Rings of Power Season 1 was the pinnacle, the apex, the Mount Olympus, the very definition of finding out. And it would appear that some of the spineless journos actually learned a lesson from this, and not wanting to get caught with their trousers around their ankles for the second time. This time around with Season 2, they've decided to be a little bit more honest. Variety said that the Rings of Power makes Lord of the Rings a boring slog in a lifeless Season 2. It's a good start. This rather biting but slightly confusing review from The Telegraph reads that the Rings of Power is proof that money can't buy magic, but that it appears to have 5 stars. I don't know about that one. The Standard says that Season 2 is slow going even for the fans. Even people who like Lord of the Rings, not that this is Lord of the Rings, this is just Rings of Power, of course, even they find it a bit slow going. But of course, the mainstream media, being the bad take factory that it is, would still have you believe with overwhelming consensus that Season 2 is the greatest thing to have ever been gifted to humanity. And The Verge writes that The Rings of Power Season 2 is an even stronger expansion of Tolkien's mythos, because that's what we all wanted. We wanted his mythos to be expanded, because it just wasn't expanded enough. This review from Tech Radar says The Rings of Power Season 2 is the thrilling and faithful Lord of the Rings show that I've wanted all along on Prime Video. But by far, my favourite headline to have come from the coverage of Season 2 so far is this one, that simply reads, Beyond Tolkien, with a picture of the woman who plays Miriel. What exactly do you mean by Beyond Tolkien? All of these decades later, you're still adapting and bastardizing his work. So if anything, I would say you are and will forever be behind Tolkien. Oh no, but please tell me more about how you're taking Tolkien's work and breaking boundaries with it, you mindless, pretentious vegetables. But anyway, it's about that time where we actually take a look at the show itself. So strap in, and here goes Season 2, Episode 1, and it starts just before the events of Season 1, with the crowning of the new Dark Lord Sauron.
Hayuk Zambat. Dorbolung Bor Zikli.
But Sauron is then betrayed and then lynched by the horde of orcs. But just when you think he's dead, he hits everyone with a big PogChamp emote. And after this, all that is left of Sauron is a puddle. No, really. He's just an evil puddle hanging round inside a cave. That is until a rat shows up and then he turns into some sort of evil chow mein. It also turns out that Puddle Sauron might have been listening to the WEF quite a bit, and he just can't wait to start eating those bugs. Remember, guys, eat the bugs. And then one day you'll grow up big and strong, just like Dark Evil Noodle Puddle Sauron.
Luke, to defeat the Sith, eat the bugs. You must.
So Sauron is this wormy sludge, kind of slowly making his way through this cave. And you might think that when this amoeba finally reaches daylight, the primordial mass bursts out in some sort of flurry of evil, but not quite. Realistic doesn't always mean cool. So this sludge eats a rat, remains sludge. It eats a centipede, remains sludge. Eats a person, all of a sudden becomes Halbrand. You know what? That makes sense. Probably. And what better way to welcome back Galadriel than with a good old horse riding scene? Well, at least she's not smiling this time, eh? So she's back, and for some reason she's still, even now, refusing to tell Gil-galad and Elrond that Halbrand is Sauron. Why?
Now who is this man?
No, don't say it. Please don't say that. But he is no man.
He is no man.
Now, there are disputes as to whether Morfydd Clark is or isn't a good actress. I personally fall on the side that she isn't. I find it to be more wooden than a tree made out of wood. My biggest criticism of her from the last season being that her face literally doesn't move. And on the rare occasion that it does, she looks like a hypothermic hamster.
It is only natural to feel conflicted.
Conflicted?
And I'm thrilled to announce that nothing seems to have changed in Season 2.
He is Sauron.
But in all fairness, the woodenness doesn't solely afflict our rat-like friend here. There are times when this show feels like a parody play inside a movie. You know when actors act as actors acting within, you know what I mean?
I'm a trickster.
Yes, so mischievous.
Sorry about that time. I turned you into a frog.
The rings. Show them to me.
We dare not use them, High King. He's no doubt corrupted
He never
them.
touched them.
We worked with Celebrimbor for weeks.
Yeah, it's a little bit triod. It's a bit too thespian-y for me. I'm just struggling to take it seriously.
The rings, Elrond. It is a command from your kin.
Sticky Ubali.
Genplot.
Now, do correct me if you believe otherwise, but I was under the impression that Gil-galad and Elrond had a great deal of trust and respect for one another. Gil-galad named Elrond Herald and then Vice Regent. He even gave him his Ring of Power, Valaya. So, when Elrond most impertinently defies Gil-galad's orders and undermines him in front of company, that seems quite out of character for me, but I don't know. What do I know? Also, since when was Elrond in possession of the 3 Elven Rings? I don't remember that happening. I thought it was Gil-galad that gave them out to Galadriel, Círdan, and Gil-galad respectively. Elrond literally had no part in them whatsoever, up until Gil-galad gave him his. And even then, it's debated why he even gave it to him. I would like to refer briefly back to the Tech Radar headline, because I'm unsure of the thrilling, and even more so the faithful bit of that. Faithful? Which books have you read exactly? You know Amazon's synopsis for The Rings of Power on Prime Video doesn't count as source material, don't you? Something I don't remember picking up on in Season 1 that I probably should have done and will do now is just the use of drop-in titles, aka the laziest way of telling the audience where they are. Also, if you needed a prompt to tell you that this is Mordor, you're a moron. Go and see your GP, make sure someone hasn't stolen your brain and replaced it with a stack of napkins. And just before you start with all that, but Middle-earth is an awfully big place and I can't remember good. The Jackson trilogy managed just fine, using various techniques like having the characters use maps within the scenes to help contextualize Middle-earth for the viewers whilst not spoiling your immersion with some dogshit pop-up. Even Season 1 managed that a little bit. But the basic drop-in text with like a subtle bit of drop shadow, I can do that. This is one of, if not the most expensive television shows ever made. I can do that. You can probably do that too.
We're going in circles.
There must be some evil upon this land.
Ah yes, I forgot about Frodo number 2, Electric Boogaloo, and not Gandalf. The last time we saw these guys, I believe they were eating snails.
We would be wiser to sup on patience.
We haven't supped on anything since we ran out of snails.
Okay, snails are still a thing. Good to know. Remember guys, eat the bugs.
You did it! We'll eat for days.
They're actually eating the bugs. Who wrote this season? Klaus Schwab? That might be a bit too based for YouTube. Am I going to get blue context box now? You better not.
I can feel the legs in the throat.
That's the best part. They're dancing.
I tell you what, if Eat the Bugs isn't the top comment on this video when I come to check the comments, I will be very disappointed. Like, comment, and subscribe if you eat bugs. Okay.
It is quite all right for a half-foot to miss home.
They're travelers. We've established this in Season 1. A home is literally the one thing they don't have. You even wrote a stupid song about it.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
Oh, would you look at that? Samwise Gamgee is back. Oh, can't tell you how excited I am about that. And make sure not to notice the fact that she looks like Binky from Arthur. Definitely don't notice that.
You came after us.
Wasn't so hard. You haven't exactly gotten very far.
Yes, well, we appear to be lost.
Wow, you can only imagine my excitement.
Harfots must have journeyed this way a long time ago. See, there's a warning. Not to forget the words to the song, or you'll just go round in circles.
Song? What song?
Give you one guess.
Sing to me, land far away.
Oh, for fuck's sake, they brought the song back. And I tell you what, I even remember some fans trying to justify the song in the first season, citing the idea that music is intrinsic within the world of Tolkien. And yes, while that might be the case, that song sure as hell isn't. He didn't write that. It's stupid. It's daft. And I don't like it. And talking of stupid songs, that is a decent segue into talking about the soundtrack for Lord of the Rings. Scratch that. Rings of Power Season 2. This does apply to Season 1 as well. The soundtrack is garbage. Absolute, utter, uninspired garbage. Like, it's not memorable. It doesn't sound like Lord of the Rings. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, I know that the Peter Jackson trilogy defined what Middle-earth sounded like for a lot of us, and we can't hold everything to that standard because things need to do their own things. But this doesn't do it. It exclusively doesn't do its own thing. It does what every garbage movie, video game, TV show, grey homogenous Hollywood sludge does these days, where it's just this generic, kind of atmospheric, moody, dramatic music that just sounds like it could be put in anything. And if you don't believe me, check the resume of the guy that actually wrote the music. Like, yeah, he's had some bangers, like, he did the God of War soundtrack. Okay, but he's also worked on things like Blood Origin, Forspoken. I miss the days when things were beautiful and people cared about things. If that means I'm one of the, back in my day, folks, fine. I am happy living in the past. You go about your business and have your new horrible garbage things. I'm going to stay in yesterday and enjoy things in life. God damn it, I thought this episode was dragging on. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. What? This episode has no business being that long. Do you want to know what's happened in this episode? This is genuinely the main plot points of this episode. The elves put their rings on. Sauron went from captivity to Eregion, and that's it. 1 hour and 20 minutes for that. Oh, sorry. And, dirty, little, filthy Frodo number 2, and not Gandalf, walked around in circles for a bit and literally got nowhere. 1 hour and 20 minutes. Oh, my God. Well, okay. Well, that just about does it for episode 1. I will be making an individual video for each and every single episode, so join me very soon where we will be looking at episode 2, then episode 3. I think they've dropped 3 episodes, so we've got some to watch before episode 4 drops. But yeah, join me very soon for the next episode. I appreciate you joining me for this one. Oh, it's going to be a good time. I know you can't wait as much as I can't. Oh, and don't forget, eat the bugs. And a big shout out to every single one of the people on this list. These are the Patreons and the channel members, and particularly the top tiers. These are the Knights of Law Infinite Dundum, Pozabon, Flunky, David, Jax, Koss, Michael Turpia, Texas Lawman, ATS, Dagger D69, nice, sorry, Saint Nemo, Steve the Goat, Michael, the Grand Admiral, Jordan 96, Satemic Kano, and Patrick Coyne, and of course all the tier 2s as well as the tier 1s. To everyone on this list, thank you ever so much for being patrons. It means the world to me. It helps me to do what it is that I enjoy doing. Believe it or not, I do enjoy making these videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. And there we go. Another day, another video. Will you join me for my next one? You better do, because it's going to be episode 2, and it's going to be hilarious. But until then, I'll see you soon. All right. Catch you in a bit. Bye-bye. Oh, this is fun. This is really fun. Okay, bye.